at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live?
Live at the original walk-ons here on Burbank. And man, love seeing all this college basketball on. Got a little Pebble Beach today. A little bit of everything over here at walk-ons. And, you know, my visit to Tuscaloosa recently, got a walk-ons in Tuscaloosa. By far the spot to watch the games, you know, in that area. So just good to be here. Charlie has the day off. He is fishing in Cabo San Lucas. Oh, what'd I do to beat Charlie Hannegriff, huh? You know, golly, he lives the life. Anyway, Max will be with us a little bit later. We'll keep you track there. Just getting underway out in Pebble Beach in beautiful Carmel, California. And we got a load today. Randy McKay was traveling yesterday. He'll be with us to recap the conference championships and give us his props approach to kind of help you. School is in session at 11:15. Colucci time. NHL picks in. Let's see where some early action is on the Super Bowl at 11:30. Matt Humans from Beeson. A lot of college basketball and a little Super Bowl talk with Matty at noon. And Kenny White with his favorite picks. And Kenny's going to dip into that women's basketball again. I know he is. He'll be here at 12:30. Max is going to stop by for a little bit as well. We've got a full show for you. Hope that you will enjoy it. College hoops, and look, Saturday is where everybody plays, and a few on Sunday. If you don't play on Saturday, you play a little bit on Friday too now, I guess you could say. It's kind of a new thing. It used to be Ivy League only on Friday night, but they play a few games. That's fine. But Saturday's a big day, but the number 2 day clearly is Wednesday night. I went over to the Queen last night and hunkered down and watched a lot of the games. I love the card. And LSU was on the big screen, had the audio. And, man, it came out. We thought this was a soft spot for Auburn. And, you know, just kind of how LSU may have been a soft spot for Alabama on Saturday. Who knew that LSU would be tied at the 16-minute mark in the second half in Coleman Coliseum? But they were. And LSU started out the gates strong. But, like, on the second possession, Auburn had, 2 minutes into the game, they had 6 offensive rebounds. 6 offensive rebounds. And the box score is just brutal, man. This was some sloppy basketball. Max was there. There's certainly, as your big boy, your number one sport on campus struggles a little bit. Auburn is definitely in a drought right now with their football program. They'll be back at some point. To what capacity, we don't know, but they're down right now, and they've latched on to this basketball team. They're 7-0, 19-1 this year, 7-0 in the SEC. I mean, their best start in the history of the program. Of course, Bruce Pearl brought them to their only Final Four a few years ago and got robbed when Virginia was not called for the double dribble, allowed them to tie it up with the corner three and then lose in overtime, or they would have been playing Texas Tech for the national title. But Auburn and Johnny Broome, who was out for a while, and we didn't know if he was going to be out for the season. Did they rush him back against Tennessee? Well, he's back. He played 33 minutes against them, and he was in full force last night. His basketball shape and maybe his polish of his game will need a little work, but he's ready. But the big stat, and we look at box scores a lot, but 24 offensive rebounds for Auburn and 20 turnovers for LSU. Well, you say, 44. No, then it's not 44 extra possessions, but you have to look. I mean, LSU's going to get some offensive rebounds. They got 10. I mean, Auburn's going to commit some turnovers. They committed 9. So a plus 14 in offensive rebounds and a plus 11 in turnover margin, that is 25 extra possessions. How in the hell are you going to compete with the number one team in the country when you can turn the ball over 25 times? If they could have neutralized this a little bit, yes, Auburn was in a spot where they could have been had last night. A little extra juice last night, not Kentucky number one type of juice coming in, but a little extra juice. And the team was, their effort was up, but it was just very, very sloppy. And we go big picture a lot with McMahon, and because it's tough to see. It's tough to see. Wasn't long ago that you won this league outright in 2019. And, man, that seems like it was forever ago at this state. So it'll be interesting. You know, they got a lot of years left on the contract, but this thing is not working. It's not close to working. Because that's one thing if, you know, McMahon never recruited at a high major type of program, high expectation of program before. And he's kind of, you know, OJT, on-the-job training. Maybe, you know, he's not the best at sort of hustling interest, support, boosters in trying to get people excited and do whatever's necessary to, you know, give himself that NIL budget to where he can go out and compete and roster build. But this is flat out a poorly coached team last night. This is too deep into the season to have this. I mean, Auburn on the road, maybe with that crowd, will get you unnerved. At home? Man, to have give up 24 offensive rebounds, box out just a little bit? Any type of box out responsibilities? Huh? 20 turnovers? It's just way, way too much, way too sloppy this deep into the season. And that's a reflection of poor coaching. And that was not – and I'm not to say that, you know, given a roster, equal roster, McMahon, he's average. He's okay. I like some of the ball movement, some of the things they do on offense. I'm not crazy about his having an inferior roster most of the matchups that he goes out to, and they're pushing it up like, you know, Nolan Richardson's 40 minutes of hell or something. I mean, they're very aggressive for having an inferior roster. But that was a spot the sharp money was on LSU, and that was a spot where LSU could have made it very, very interesting. Very interesting. You're minus 25 possessions, a minus 14 on an offensive rebound stat, a minus 11 on a turnover stat, 25 extra possessions, and you're single digits pretty late. Could have been. Should have, would have, could have. You know, so Bruce Pearl, yeah, we all know, got a little trouble at Tennessee and Auburn. He's doing just fine. Houston last night goes on the road. They had a 20-point lead. This was a hangover spot in that wild double overtime win at Lawrence, 63-49 against West Virginia. West Virginia got it down to 5, but Kelvin Sampson, who got in a little trouble, Indiana, he's doing just fine. Number 2 NET. Virginia and Miami last night. Why is this one 82-71? Well, Tony Bennett, who won the national championship a few years ago, he quit a month before the season started. And Jim Larinaga, who brought 2 different teams to the Final Four, quit a month into the season. That Miami thing is bad. 82-71, Virginia, dog, outright winner by double digits. One of my favorite games last night, because people that follow college basketball closely knows how hot these two teams are, but 2 of the hottest teams in the country, Creighton and Xavier. Creighton just didn't miss. 86-77. They win in cover against Xavier instead of a sold-out downtown arena in Omaha, Nebraska. And, the Big East, man, they Coach Mack, whose job was threatened, who got in a little trouble at Creighton, but they stuck with him. He's doing just fine. Over Sean Miller, whose Xavier team has an NET of in the 30s. They're going to be him. He got in a little trouble at Arizona. He's doing just fine. Got another team, his former team, headed to the NCAA tournament again. SMU and Cal last night. SMU is 16-5, 43 net. They're in right now, barely in, on the right side of the bubble right now. Andy Enfield, who got in a little trouble at USC, doing just fine at SMU. They're spending some money over there. Ole Miss, 72-69. I did not cover this one. Apologize about that. This was way more hard-fought than I ever expected. Give Texas credit. They gave Ole Miss all they could handle. They don't cover, but Beard does get the win. It snaps Ole Miss's 3-game losing streak, and they're a top 15 NET team. I think they can get into the Sweet 16. Of course, Chris Beard, who got in a little trouble in Austin, Texas, doing just fine with the Rebels. Non-traditional power, just kicking ass. And Alabama, 88-84 over State. State had the ball on a breakaway, dunked the ball. Instead, he tries to lay it in. It's blocked. That would have given them a lead with less than 20 seconds to go. Nate Oates, I've talked about this Bama team, something about them. I liked State last night, though. They didn't get it done. Nate Oates just a half game behind undefeated Auburn. Auburn's 7-0 in the SEC standings. Bama is 7-1. Of course, Oates brought Alabama to their first Final Four last year. Of course, in that resource-rich program. Playing, talk about resources, your facilities, resources, absolutely. The number one crap hole facility arena in this league, and it ain't close to number 2. To give you an example, how nasty that arena is, they're last. It is kind of like the Saints in their salary cap situation. It ain't close to number 2. This ain't close. But he getting it done. People getting it done. Take a time out. Open up the phone lines. Don't forget we're live. Open up the phone lines. That's old school, huh? Well, open up the phone lines because we'll call our buddy Big Dog Randy McKay. He's been waiting for quite a while. I told him an hour earlier. I'm still in a funk. Oh, my goodness. I'm a little still trying to get back in playing shape. I apologize about that. But Big Dog, the most respected NFL handicapper in the land. He'll recap Conference Championship Sunday and kind of share with us his props approach. Colucci at the NHL picks at the bottom of the hour and early in the Super Bowl action. Matty Humans talk a lot of college hoops at noon. Kenny White with his picks at 12:30. Live here from the original Walk-Ons. Book your Boil Crawfish event now. On-site dates, are filling up for the spring with company crawfish balls. Also booking off-site crawfish boils as well. We could do as much or as little as you would like. Just provide the boiled crawfish or everything from the setup to cleanup, as well as providing bar options. Whatever you've done, whatever level you want to do yourself, you want us to do the whole thing. We've done all kinds of crawfish balls, up to 1,000 people. Give Dustin a call at 888-3566. 888-3566. Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Remind you that we are also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. Because when it comes to retirement, there are no two solutions alike and no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, also your business partners, your legal team, tax professionals, to make sure that all your goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you, and I know for sure, because they certainly work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Hook it up with Randy McKay. Big Dog, I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong time, huh? I mean, I gave you mountain time? Huh? I mean, I apologize, man. I mean, you're always so polite. We hang out together. You're my boy. I mean, you're there for me every week. You create great content. You respond whenever I text you on a Sunday if I need a late pick. And, here I'm here, just putting you on the line. Just hang out for an hour, Randy. That's all. You ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah, apology accepted. Maybe when I come visit you, you can treat me a little Mike Anderson again, and that would be fine. So
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Max has joined us. I just got talking about the LSU Auburn game. Max was there real quick, but Max, I mean, you're minus 25 in the offensive rebounds turnovers category. 25 extra possessions. Because I just can't put you at 44 because LSU's going to get some offensive rebounds. Auburn's going to commit some turnovers. But you're minus 11 in turnovers. You're minus 14 in offensive rebounds. That's 25 extra possessions. And this was a single digit. This was a spot where Auburn could have been a little banana peel spot.
Should have covered.
Yeah. Well, it should have covered, but could have been really interesting.
Yeah, it could have been. 15 first-half turnovers. You don't deserve to win the game if you do that. 15 first-half turnovers.
How many offensive rebounds? They gave up like 6 in the first possession.
First possession, there were 6 rebounds. Yes, that's correct. Look, Auburn's a better team. That was obvious, but there was a spot. I mean, Auburn did not shoot the ball very well in this game. So, this was your chance. And actually, LSU was pretty efficient from the floor. The problem is they give it up too much on extra possessions, and that's been a problem for them all year. So Auburn exposed them. It wasn't Auburn's best performance like we were kind of expecting. LSU probably should have covered. They shouldn't have won the game, but they should have been in it.
How many people there?
About 7,000, 7,500 maybe.
AADs, hire coaches, empty seats, fire coaches. So, you kind of stuck with this contract with McMahon, but he should be on the hot seat. But the contract has probably allowed him where he's going to be fine, because what's happening in the rest of the SEC, where LSU's got way more tradition than them. Talk about Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee. LSU's got more Final Fours than all of them put together. Okay? Maravich, Shaq, or whatever. Okay, they got Barkley. All right. And they're kicking our ass left and right. How many? It was about 7,000. How many of the fans were at Auburn? About 1,000, 1,500?
I would say 1,000. There were some "Let's go Auburn" chants, and every time they made a free throw, you could hear, they clap and say "AU" or something. So it was noticeable. There was an Auburn presence there.
Well, they're latching on. They're struggling in the number one sport there. I saw a bigger contingent in Georgia, but there's so many Auburn alums that live in Georgia, and that went to school from to Auburn or from Georgia. So that's one thing. I was a little interested last night. All right, Randy, y'all full with any college hoops right now?
Yeah, thanks for bringing up that game last night. I lost by a hook on that game.
Yep.
I had a 4-3 day, but that would have been nice to get that one. And sounds like I should have had the better team to cover there, and unfortunately it just didn't happen. Lose by 13.
Because Max, you followed his team closer. That's excessive. That's not a trait of LSU for the season, right?
No, that's been them all year. They turned the ball over way too much.
Oh, okay.
Auburn kept pressuring them, doubling. That's a problem. They don't handle the ball very well, and they have struggled a little bit on the boards against bigger teams like Auburn. So that's kind of what they do.
Okay. So it's not too much out of character. It's just more Auburn, a good team, just exploited it. More than up. Okay. Randy, so your group identified this as sort of a tricky spot for Auburn last night, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely a nice home dog spot, but it just didn't turn out. Kind of, you guys' discussion reminded me of the time we met Bruce Pro at the Final Four there a couple years ago. That was kind of neat. But, unfortunately, we didn't get the money yesterday. We got the two late ones, UNLV and Syracuse. Anybody was tracking the late night basketball, but that turned out okay.
Did Syracuse come back and cover that thing? Wasn't it like 24-2 or something to start off?
Yeah, and they came back, and I think they lost by
9,
under 10,
70-61. Yeah. Wow, they're talking about a back door, huh? Wow.
Yeah, you need sometimes with those bad dogs. Sometimes you need some of those.
Yeah, it was. It was. I'll tell you what I took. I took Syracuse in game twice at plus 18.5 and plus 14.5. I mean, it was 25-2 to start the game. 25-2, and you still cover. Damn. All right, y'all going anything tonight?
Yeah, I don't have the sheet in front of me. We got a couple bets, but I'll have to text you after we get off the radio call. I got it on my phone and don't have a sheet in front of me.
Okay, yeah, pass it along. We'll pass it along to. All right, what's your thoughts on Conference Championship Sunday? Of course, a lot of the turnovers. I mean, the dog. They don't turn the ball over in the first two playoff games 4 times. It wasn't. I mean, the last interception was kind of desperation time. Daniels played great. I think he gave him a chance. But your thoughts on the Philly-Washington game first?
Yeah, what a season there for the Washington team coming back. What a season for Daniels. You guys in that area must be pretty pumped up about him too. You get to follow Burrow, now you get to follow him, and that's pretty cool. And but as far as the game went, yeah, it just kind of went bad for him after the Barkley run, and the floodgates kind of opened up there for Philly, and the turnovers didn't take care of the ball for the Washington team. Kind of took care of them, and just look forward to the you got Philly in the Super Bowl, and then we got Kansas City with them, and match up a couple years ago.
And your thoughts on the Kansas City-Buffalo game?
Yeah, as we figured out, it was a pretty close, contested game right down to the end there. And, death taxes, North Dakota State and Kansas City Chiefs just find a way to do it, and they get the win there. And, close game, and Buffalo had it on their racket to maybe do it if Allen threw up a nice pass there, and the tight end Kincaid had to adjust and just couldn't come down with it. So just a close win by Kansas City, but something we're used to going into the Super Bowl.
I mean, Allen, just unbelievable play that just doesn't get rewarded. And, 10 times, how many times out of 10 should Kincaid make that catch, Randy?
Yeah, he kind of had to, shift his feet a little bit. I would say a good 6, 7 out of 10 probably on that one because he had to kind of adjust. He's a bigger guy, so not a real easy catch for a tight end. Probably easier for a receiver, a little bit more nimble. So would have been an easier catch for a wide receiver. But yeah, he should have had it. Yeah,
and that's a good point because it wasn't like when you throw it up, like, oh, can he get there? Well, he got there and then some. The ball hit more of his elbow, closer to his elbows than his hands. So, in which tells you he's trying to adjust and he misjudged the ball because he was thrown off. He was thrown off rhythm. He was thrown off schedule. But I'm thinking of you when I'm just kind of digesting, what happened and watching the Buffalo run the same plays over and over, and Kansas City anticipating and making it harder. Also, whether it's why can't they, if they ran it like the Eagles, it would be better. Why is Allen so high on that quarterback sneak? And then where do you weigh in as far as the call?
Yeah, you got to give Spagnuolo a lot of credit there. He adjusted his defense for that quarterback sneak, and they were well prepared for that. I think they're going to be well prepared for the Eagles too, and some of those tush pushes just didn't work for Buffalo, and some of those calls, I think you're talking about the they can come down to either way, those measurements and all that. So just didn't go the Buffalo's way. A lot of controversy, that's been talked about all week. But, Buffalo had their chances, and they just didn't execute when they needed to.
Well, didn't go their way, but the one constant, and this is where you come into play because a lot of odds makers have their power ratings, their point spread values, and as the results come in over the course of the season, they're fluid and they adjust accordingly. A lot of handicappers have their power ratings and point spread values, and they get the matchups and then they compare to the line, the disparities, and they make their plays accordingly. You have your coaching power ratings. And I am interested where McDermott, and because it's not Reed, it's Reed, Spagnuolo, it's the whole staff, it's the whole bench. But man, they are a nice combination, and the continuity, and they know how to. Spagnuolo knows when he can just play base, or when he has to try and make a play, and just acknowledging the matchup. Because that's the thing that's constant in this: the disparity between the Chiefs staff and the Bills staff. Where exactly do you have those staffs in your power ratings?
Yeah, McDermott's always been right around that 11-12 range as far as coaching ratings, and his assistant. Where Andy Reid, of course, ever since Belichick's retired, he's kind of moved up to that, the top 5, definitely. Him and John Harbaugh, and I still got Sean Payton up there. He did a great job this year, so got those guys in the top 3. I had Vrabel before he. We'll see what he does now. He's back with New England, but I had him up there as well. So had a pretty good group of coaches. Reid's really improved since he went to Kansas City, and of course he has Mahomes. Now he goes for it. Before with the Eagles and stuff, he used to, play the punt game, play the field position with Donovan McNabb. So he was never really high before he finally went to Kansas City. He's really improved. And his staff is really good. Former coaches Spagnuolo and Nagy, and that bunch is really good. Number one crew as far as having assistants and head coach there.
All right, give us your props approach. What are you doing? You trying to forecast the game? You trying to what do you share us your approach on what you're going to do with all these props?
We saw this game play out, 2 years ago, but is it going to be same kind of game? That's tough to decide here because remember they played.
It was slick.
In Arizona, it was supposed to be on that grass field
Yeah.
that turned into kind of like an ice situation where the defense couldn't really respond to the offense and turned into a higher scoring game than projected. They still got a fast turf there, down in your neck of the woods there in New Orleans. So you kind of got to look at a little bit of the pass there. But, you could see maybe a similar outcome, or maybe Philly gets off, fast, and then the Chiefs come back later. So that's what I'm kind of looking at attack the props, of course, this week. And, of course, tonight with the Westgate opening, their props here, I think at right around 6-7 Pacific time.
There you go. You're in Vegas for that?
Yeah, I flew in. That's why I wasn't on the show yesterday. I flew in yesterday and here ready to go and looking around and looking to make some moves and hopefully find some good stuff like we have in the past, and hopefully it's a good Super Bowl.
All right, text me those picks when you get so I can pass it along. We look forward to your props and your picks next week and your breakdown. And if we're taking Football Sunday off, but we'll be back for Super Bowl Sunday as well. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys, and good luck to everybody out there.
All right, Big Dog Randy McKay at RR39 on X. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet, not just one size. These units can be customized for any use, custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers, for welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need, whatever you desire. Give my buddy Martine Padial in Workbox a call at 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com. Live at the original walk-ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Dwayne Colucci. Colucci, what's happening, my brother? How you doing today?
Jimmy Yacht, my man, what's going on?
How was Conference Championship Sunday for you guys? A winner or a loser for the house?
Well, we had a ton of Commanders money, to believe it or not.
Okay.
So we actually did very well on the first game, and the second game was great two-way action. That's how it is when Buffalo plays the Chiefs. So just a fabulous weekend. The handle was off the hook, far exceeded the prior year, and just a lot of fun. And we were packed to the rafters here. So we did very good on the first game. Second game was, you have all that liability that's sitting on teasers and parlays. So, we immediately adjusted the line. You could see it went from during game time, Chiefs like 1.5. All of a sudden you're seeing Pick'em out there. So the Buffalo money was riding high. And, the Chiefs got it done again, Jimmy. Same old story. You Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid in the right position. Yeah. Kelsey, all these guys just come together. They gel come playoff time. And you can see it's night and day. They can't cover a game during the regular season. This might not be the Chiefs' year. This might, be where they have a stutter step. And to tell you the truth, I think the AFC was stronger than ever this year, and they were able to come through once again. Baltimore had a fabulous year. Pittsburgh had a great year. The Los Angeles Chargers and Denver, so the division rivals were there. And you had the teams like Buffalo and the Ravens. So the AFC was stacked, whereas the NFC, in my opinion, had somewhat of a down year. You didn't have the 49ers playing at the top level that they are used to. You had Green Bay that were somewhat exposed early on. You had Minnesota, who had a great regular season, but you kind of knew Donald was going to be men's and men's come playoff time. So, this is a battle-tested Chiefs team once again, and on top. Got to start talking dynasty, Jimmy.
Oh, well, I mean, just the mere fact that they're the first team that the repeat champions that are here in the Super Bowl, so they could be the first three-peat in the Super Bowl era. You can fudge if you want to go back to Green Bay because Green Bay won the NFL championship the last year before they won the first 2 Super Bowls. But in the Super Bowl era, I mean, the facts are the facts. Nobody's done it. And so the Chiefs have a shot. When you win 17 straight games, yes, you get a little lucky sometime. Okay, poor field goal protection by the Denver Broncos and that chip shot field goal. But also, you're pretty damn clutch if you keep pulling it out as well. They're just going to find a way. It's usually said lower levels, like you'll see high school programs. They just know they're going to win. They're going to find a way to win. You don't see it at the professional level like this. It's unbelievable. Hey, I was a little worried about y'all because the overs hit so easily, and this deep into the season, I mean, when are you not pulling for the unders? In late in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl, and because these games flew over so easily, I was wondering if the public, made a little score.
Yeah, the second game, definitely we got pounded on with over money. You could see it on the adjustment on the line. It just kept going up and up. And, definitely our best case was going to be an under. But the points just keep coming. I mean, especially with Saquon controlling that game against the Commanders. And Jaden Daniels could put up points, too. No discredit to the Commanders. It was just that the firepower that the Eagles had was so much more far superior at this point. And it was unfortunate for the Commanders that Jalen Hurts had his best game of the season. You can mix that in with Saquon and Brown and all these guys. And, Sirianni coached a great game. So the Commanders were up against it. Few inopportune, turnovers. And before you know it, 55 points are on the board, and one team is going over by themselves. So, despite the cold weather, you're playing in a cold weather environment when you're talking about Philadelphia and Kansas City. Still, these, offensive firepower was prominent here, and the defenses were a little suspect, not so much in the Buffalo-Kansas City game, but definitely in the Philly-Washington game.
Where did you guys open it up? You opened it up at 1.5, 48.5?
Yeah, we did open it up at 1.5. Let me check that total for you. It got bet up to 2 immediately, and actually we opened it at 50.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, we went up to 2 immediately from 1, the opener, and then we brought it back down to 1.5 because we did have that large $50,000 wager at my property here on the money line for the Eagles. So, it's going to be back and forth. This is the matchup that all bookmakers wanted, without a doubt. If it wasn't Lamar playing in the big game, you wanted to see Mahomes against the Eagles, which turned out to be the best team available in the NFC. Detroit had a great regular season, no discredit, but they didn't play defense when it counted. And Philadelphia was able to lay a beating on the Commanders, whereas the Commanders beat Detroit. So this is obviously the game from my perspective and my side of the counter that I wanted. We're going to see a plethora of money on the propositions on both sides in this game. We took a sizable bet on no safety that was 5 digits. 5 figures. It's just an
What's the
time
odds on no safety?
Currently, I don't have it in front of me, Jimmy, because we have so many props and we're working on them right now.
Okay.
But I believe he laid 22 to win 2. So that was, that was the. I posted the ticket on Twitter. You could always follow me on @MYBookie.
I'm sorry.
And, I'm going to put the bets out there, brother. So the bets were already out there, Jimmy. So it was posted on Twitter, and that was the amount. It was 22 to win 2. But we definitely made an adjustment on that. So
yes, indeed. Are you guys at the South Point in the Rampart doing the 5-cent juice thing again?
Of course. That's
Okay.
what we hang our hat on. Minus 105, only at the counter, though. Keep that in mind. We don't offer that on the mobile application. We want you to come in, enjoy our property and facility, and that's the bonus that you get. 105 big at the Rampart in South Point only, the best deal in Las Vegas. And we do that also, usually Sweet 16 to the final game. We do it for the Super Bowl. What a great deal. I mean, why would you, if you want to bet $1 million, bet 1.1 million when you could bet 1,500,000? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying. It's just a great, phenomenal deal. And it's for the consumers. This is the time of the year that we show our appreciation to all the people that frequented our shops, and we put this up on straight bets on the side for the big game.
Kaluch, I had somebody a few weeks ago said that they went over and just talking about their trip to the South Point, didn't know, my affiliation with you guys at all, and just I said, man, I know, but he's just raving about the experience they had, with the hot dog bars. He just had a great time, being, off the strip, more convenient to get in and out, and just kind of more of a locals place and more of a little bit of a personal touch. So just really good marks on that
Appreciate
experience.
that, yes. Yeah, the South Point is just phenomenal. I mean, it's the only race at Sportsbook that has a separate race and a separate Sportsbook in Las Vegas. And, Michael Gordon just does a fabulous job. Us here at the Rampart, we got the 55-foot video wall. A third of the wall is always dedicated to horse racing. And, we're just full circle. We're the old school bookmakers, brick and mortar, and we enjoy each and every one of our customers. It's great to see smiling faces, people coming up, purchasing racing forms, looking for drink tickets, all that. That's the old school Las Vegas feel, not just the mobile applications and stuff like that.
No, your tellers too, man, are great. They're very personable. So you guys, that doesn't go by chance. Your management, stresses that. 10 games on the NHL card tonight on the ice before we get jammed up for time here. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough weekend last week. We did get that big dog home, but we had a couple of losers. Some fabulous games tonight. Let's look at the Minnesota Wild tonight. I mean, I hate to go against my Montreal Canadiens, but you got Marc-Andre Fleury, the Flower, playing his last game in his hometown. He's going to be definitely fired up for this game. Montreal usually has trouble with Minnesota as well. Canadians are a 140 favorite at the Rampart and South Point. I'm going to take the 120 on the Wild tonight. I hate to do it, but I love the Flower. He was just the face of the city here for so many years, and the first franchise goaltender and sports franchise that we actually had here in Las Vegas. So I want to see him definitely go out a winner. Also, here's another one. The Ducks are getting hot now. The Anaheim Ducks, believe it or not, 21 and 23. You're looking at Calgary minus 180. They went in, they got rid of Grubauer, who was actually released after the game the other night when the Ducks put up a 6-spot on him. So I'm looking at the Ducks plus, I would say, at about
160 here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You could get 160. I'm seeing a few shops that have Calgary at 190 in town. So in Vegas, you shop around, you could get a lot more. Us at the Rampart and South Point, you're correct, 160. Looking at the Anaheim Ducks, looking at the Dogs again. Vegas isn't playing too good, touching upon my Vegas Golden Knights. They're starting to have a little trouble. Mark Stone, a little dirty play the other night, was under scrutiny. Playing Columbus tonight, that's going to be a very, very tough game at the Fortress. So, keep your eye on that matchup, and then we'll start gauging the Golden Knights as the season goes on. But we have those two plays tonight, Jimmy. Definitely strong plays. So
yeah, at our local shop, the Queen Sportsbook, was the DraftKings outlet. We get some pretty good numbers. Minnesota's plus 124, and the Ducks are plus 160. So it's favorable prices are right there. I want to go back because we got conflicting, and every shop's a little bit different. But your liability, give me the top 5. What's your liability? Because the folks down at the Boulevard, which is a BetMGM property, they said, man, we're in the clear. We had a lot of Baltimore action. We had a lot of Detroit Lions liability, and then our friends from Bed River said, "No, these two teams are going to hurt us. One of these two teams are making." Where are you guys where were your top 5 liability for futures for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, definitely the Ravens and Detroit taking them out definitely helped us out. The Chiefs are set so low at the start of the season, and the Eagles were basically second or third choice throughout. So, I didn't see any sizable wagers come across real late. The Eagles started to impress and establish dominance pretty early on in the regular season. You knew they were going to win the NFC East. And also, on the other hand, we have so many Swifties at Chief bets that, you take a plethora of Chief future money, but you could offset that with other teams. A lot of people were riding Lamar this year. You had some L.A. Charger money. You had a lot of different angles this year. So, our liability on the futures market is not that bad, I'll be honest with you. It'll be basically, riding into the sunset on game time, who we need at 3:30, next Sunday, and we'll see where it goes from there, Jimmy. But futures market was definitely ripe, and it had a lot of different angles. Different teams got hot at different periods of the, season, and we keep adjusting those odds. So we did garner some Pittsburgh money. You had some people taking shots on Cincy late in the season, Denver, so this all offsets when you have two relatively low prices that we set the market at early in the regular season and prior to the regular season. We already have next year's Super Bowl odds out. So, they are two of the lower teams, Philadelphia and Kansas City, two of the focal teams that we knew were going to go pretty far. And you did have a lot of people that were betting against and taking a chance against the Chiefs this year. So futures market is pretty steady and not really going to get crushed or hurt on that, Jimmy.
Real quick, so next year's odds are out. Where's Detroit? Like top three, a third or fourth choice?
What do we got here? Detroit Lions are 8-1. That's what we opened it at.
Which is like
Bills 8.
First, second, third, fourth.
5. Yeah, we have a plethora of teams at 8. Eagles, Ravens, Bills, Lions, all at 8-1. Chiefs 5-1, the favorite.
Okay. So, tied for second to fifth choice behind the Chiefs. Follow my man, Dwayne Colucci. If you want to bet no safety, you can get him down at 11-1. 22,000 to win 2,000, baby, no problem. Cash out $24,000. I'm looking at it right now at the Rampart Casino. And as always, if you go by, look, JW Marriott property. It is first class. I've stayed there. I could talk about it. And you go introduce yourself to Colucci and tell him that you hear us right here on 104.5 ESPN. Colucci, good luck to you this weekend, man. We'll talk about what the biggest props that you guys are taking at the shop out in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl next week. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, Jimmy. Love you guys. Say hi to everybody in Baton Rouge, and let's make some money tonight on the ice.
Let's go. Two dogs. Let's get it. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows. Also do doors, siding, shutters. But our doors, our selection of replacement doors are all created using the highest quality materials available and are designed to provide secure and durable barriers between the outside and inside of your home. Our doors, Everleaf Windows, come in a variety of materials, each with its unique advantages. So exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, our exterior doors. When you trust Relief Windows with the exterior doors, you're receiving the strongest possible barrier between inside and outside of your home, coming in a variety of materials, styles. Our exterior doors are designed to stand up to the elements in everyday wear and tear, the South Louisiana heat and snow. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Wrap up hour number one. Live at lunch, live at the Original Walk-Ons, where we are booking the spring crawfish boils on-site, off-site. If you just need the crawfish, you just need the boil, you need us to do service, you need us to do an on-site bar, whatever you need, whatever you're looking for to kind of tailor-make, customize your party, your crawfish boil this spring. It should be a really good season. Snow kind of insulating them a little bit. Gave a lot of water. Now we got some warmth. Should be pretty good this time of the year. Live at lunch, live at Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Max, we're touching on a lot of things. What you want to jump in on?
Early Super Bowl. I guess I would just ask you, Jimmy, what are you playing now that might move too much? Any overs on players?
I think like the Worthy thing was way too high. Like the Kelsey, that's not sustainable to me. That Kelsey's going to have that low a number again, where it allows Worthy to get that many targets. I think Worthy will get touches. I think some of those run into shovel passes or the little reverses, sweeps and things like that. But, that Bills cornerback went down. He had 1 yard. And when he went that's what good teams do. They attack, they're going to attack your replacement.
Sure.
But he's not that big of a part. So where he went over, I think that's going to come down some. Okay. So that's just one thing. And I just can't get back to where the Eagles are so much better on paper than what they were 2 years ago when they could have won it. 4 great impact players on defense and Saquon on offense. Take a top of the hour break. We're live here at Walk-Ons. Live at lunch. Live at Walk-On.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crawfish boils, again, on-site, off-site, whatever capacity you need. Our staff, again, on-site dates are filling up for the spring crawfish boils. We have also been booking off-site ones as well. Could do as much or as little as you would like to provide We can provide the boiled crawfish. We can set up to clean up. We can provide bar options. We've done boils for up to 1,000 people. Call Dustin to set up your crawfish boil on-site or off-site here at Walk-Ons. 888-3566, 888-3566. Out to Las Vegas. Matt Humans leads off hour number 2. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
You know, I'm not really sure yet. It's too early in the morning to answer that.
College basketball, man, a full Wednesday night last night. How'd you do, man? I kind of took it on the chin. I thought Ole Miss would cover. They didn't. It was much more of a hard-fought victory than anticipated. Even locally, I looked for maybe a soft spot for Auburn. Got hooked on that one where LSU had gave up 24 offensive rebounds and committed 20 turnovers. Hard to win there. And I had Mississippi State plus 1.5. Got a great number.
Oh boy!
Why didn't the guy dunk it on that breakaway? Why did he not dunk it? Well, but Alabama is tough on the road, man. It seems like they handle road situations tougher than most. How'd your night go?
Well, about the same as yours. Not too well. I had West Virginia as a home dog, and that did not work out well. I had Ole Miss playing 6, and I typically don't play favorites more than 3. I really thought Chris Beard was going to lay it on the Longhorns. With 3 straight losses, his team was going to be jacked up. Well, that didn't happen. Ole Miss ended up winning the game by 3. I did hit a money line parlay late last night, but that's it. It's on 3 big favorites and a couple Mountain West teams, but college basketball has been a little bit rough. I actually was having a really good season up until about a week ago, and I've hit a little slump here the past 7 days, so you probably don't want my picks for tonight.
Oh, you do, Matt? You do? What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
I don't really. I'm probably going to sit out tonight. I was looking at Hawaii as an 8-point home dog to UC San Diego overnight. That number's down to 7.5. I kind of like UCLA to take out Oregon. The Bruins have been playing much better. Mick Cronin got that whole thing turned around there, but I don't want to lay 4.5 in that game. And I like Penn State over Ohio State. You know what? Doug Gottlieb and Green Bay back in action tonight. That's always a good fade, but it's a 14-point number for Oakland. Sorry.
Yeah, UCLA winners of 4 in a row, But who did you have in that Friday night game when Washington hits the 3 to put it on 5 at the buzzer? That was a wild one last night as well. He's I kind of like them a little bit. I'm already on Penn State. I was at 2.5. I bought it to 2, so I was fortunate there. Whatever chalk I like early, I try and get it as early as possible, and the dogs a little bit later. We had a conversation a little bit earlier. I mean, who's in worse shape? Who's in worse shape? No, 2 completely different historical teams, but lately, Wes Reynolds, Indiana Hoosiers, LSU's basketball Tigers. LSU's won a conference championship more recently than Indiana. LSU won their last SEC title in 2019, Indiana 2016. They've been in the Final Four more recently, 2006 compared to 2002. We don't want to go all the way to the history with Indiana and Bobby Knight's run, but at the SEC, if they were to make a switch, wouldn't an SEC job be attractive? Say, man, you go down there with their resources, the athletic department resources, look at what everybody's winning in the SEC this year, minus 3 teams. What's your thoughts on the state of those 2 programs?
Well, it's all about hiring the right coach who can get the thing turned around. And Mike Woodson was not the right hire for Indiana at the time. That's a retirement job for him, and he's not working hard at recruiting. He's been accused of being very lazy, and it shows in the way Indiana's played the last few years. Previous to that, Archie Miller was a bust in Bloomington. So I think that Indiana job's very attractive, by the way. And the best guy for that job is Chris Beard, who's sitting at Ole Miss. And somebody mentioned to me, oh, no, you can't touch Chris Beard. He's damaged goods. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I think Chris Beard's a top 5 coach in college basketball, and he would be lights out at Indiana. And that's same thing LSU. If you hire the right guy, you can get that thing turned around pretty quickly. That's just my thoughts on that. I think Indiana get it turned around, but right now they got the wrong guy on the bench.
Just last night in some of the action, Bruce Pearl, Kelvin Sampson, Sean Miller, Coach Mack at Creighton. He was, he slipped up with some of his use of words. And Andy Enfield, Chris Beard, all these guys are so-called damaged goods. Man, it's college basketball. I mean, Tark said it best. Not everybody's cheating. Those teams are 9th and 10th in their leagues. Not everybody's cheating, I mean, come on, man. But there are no room for more. Hey, you know what? Our guys clean here at Baton Rouge. We suck. We're third. We do the walk-ons, the original walk-ons. It's about, I don't know, an eighth of, let's say 6 furlongs away from the Maravich Assembly Center. What college basketball major program is third of interest in their own arena? Because here at the walk-ons, they don't do close to the business for a men's basketball games that they do for the women's games or gymnastics. What major program is third in your own building? Huh?
That might be the only one.
I mean,
that's probably the only one. I can't think of another one.
Well, you know what? We're clean, Matt. We're clean. We got rid of our damaged goods. We're clean, baby. Well,
when you're clean, you lose, and that's the price you pay in college sports now. You're not going to get there being a nice guy, being a good guy. So, I can't believe people still think Chris Beard's damaged goods. That's the type of guy to be a great hire for somebody. And I would think to Ole Miss that could be a long-term stop for him. Somebody asked me, where's the value on the futures board? You get a lot of people who've been betting football all season. Now they're jumping into college hoops. And any teams on the futures board that you like would still have a good number in terms of odds. And I said St. John's, and I've been saying St. John's for a while now. I bet that team at 80-1, I think in late April. And you can still find 60-1 at BetMGM, at least a couple days ago. And the Johnnies atop the Big East, Rick Pitino's got experienced guards. He's got size. He's the type of coach who can elevate a team in March. I really like St. John's at 60-1. If you can still find that at BetMGM, I know 50-1 is still out there, plenty of places, and that's good too. That would be one team I would recommend. And Jimmy, I'm out on Tennessee after watching the Vols a couple nights ago. I've felt this way about Tennessee the whole time. The offense is just not good enough. Last year, Dalton Knecht was there, and he could cover up some of the flaws offensively. But Tennessee the other night against Kentucky, and I wasn't in Kentucky, so it was one of the few winners I had this week, but Tennessee was 8 for 33 on uncontested threes. That's obviously 24%. I'm going to ask you, what's more impressive, generating 33 uncontested three-point looks or missing 25 of them?
Well, no doubt. And they, it's kind of minus the Connect year last year. That's been the story of Tennessee. A commitment to defense under Barnes, but just really not the firepower. And listen, that was one of the best regional finals that I can remember. I mean, but they've got some good ones. That was one of them. And I thought just the style of officiating. I'm not saying it was, Tennessee got jobbed, but to call it that tight, Edey lived at the line and got a lot of cheap points at the line. Connect was awesome. And it was and they were right there. It was just a really, really good team in Purdue, and the style of officiating was not conducive to them winning, and that's what it took to keep them out the Final Four. I mean, had they played anybody besides Purdue or UConn, they're winning last year with Connect. Right. But and then a guy and Charlie, Zakai Ziegler. Okay, we want guys to stay. Guys stay at the same school. He's but 1 for 17. Dude, quit shooting the last 2 games from 3. I mean, Auburn, he was 0 for 6 and he was 1 for 11 against Kentucky. 1 for 17 for a 30. You're not a good 3-point shooter to begin with, and with that many games that he's played, he's got to be smarter than that, and he's just not.
Right.
And it's just not winning basketball. So he's their leader, he's their guy, and for him not to have better basketball IQ, and then they don't have any guy that could beat you off the dribble, I'm with you. So same old story, it seems like, for Tennessee. They're going to defend you. There's no doubt. And I gave them more credit the way in a close loss at Auburn. That's a tough place to play. I mean, that is as tough as it gets, and they were right there, but they took a big step back against Kentucky.
Yeah, that game at Auburn was about as ugly as it gets, right? 53-51.
Yeah.
That looked like Big Ten basketball from the 1980s. That was pretty ugly, but that was a high level game, especially defensively in terms of physicality. I would say it's going to be interesting. SEC is going to have 11 or 12 teams in the tournament. How many of those teams reach the Elite Eight? Because these teams are going to just beat the crap out of each other for 3 months.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think, that's a factor. By the time they get to March, I think these teams are going to be tired.
You saw Ziegler. Go down with. He could have. That looked like that was a substantial injury. He's already come off of one ACL where he got knocked out for the season a couple of years ago. That was a scary moment. Even though he's as bad as he struggled, they still need him. But yeah, the Johnny Broom, with his injury. Now he's back. He played extensive minutes in the last 2 games back against Tennessee and LSU. But yeah, it's always been an athletic year, and it's a grind, man. It is a grind. But then, if they survive health-wise, they certainly will be tested. I just think that the LSU thing, and I think that the contract that they gave McMahon a 7-year deal. Now, what do you need 7 years to figure out if the guy is worth a damn or not? So you buried yourself with that contract. That's not smart. But so I think he's safe there. But I just think that because, man. Damn, everybody's winning in the SEC. Man, an SEC job, I think an SEC opening's got to be that much more attractive. When is it going to be more attractive than with all the success that they're having this year?
I guess there's a couple ways to look at it. One would be that you got a long way to climb, and that long ladder to climb in that conference. And is LSU committed to pouring the funds into basketball?
Yeah.
Like you just said, the third most important team in that arena behind women's basketball and gymnastics.
Yes.
So, I don't know. What do you got? What do you got for the Super Bowl? You got any props you like? Or I've got an Eagles 16-1 future, so that's going to influence how I bet the game. I'm going to set up a Jimmy Ott scenario where I'm going to live betting, hope to grab the Chiefs at some point, plus 3.5, something like that, where I can set up the middle.
I can see that happening, Matt, and I can also see, and I know it's, because, listen, the first thing when you handicap the Chiefs, they're certainly a different team. It's almost like they hold some things, they coast at times in the regular season. This is not the same team. And last year when they beat Baltimore and Buffalo on their way to the Super Bowl, that's not the same team that's struggling to beat Carolina, Denver at home. So they are They know when to turn it on in money time. But, that thing was a 50-50 game 2 years ago, and the Eagles are so much better. With Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, the two cornerbacks, DeJean and the other kid from Toledo. That's 4 impact players on the defense. And then you got Barkley on offense. There were a great roster. And, Kelsey's not there anymore, and he's important, but the offensive line is still really good. They are just better. If Hurts can just be adequate, man, that roster is superior to me to Kansas City. So that's going to be my approach, and I'm going to be on the Eagles. I know how do you look like Max is here. You've been cashing tickets on Mahomes. Don't start. I'm not telling you. Don't stop betting Mahomes in the postseason now. As an underdog 3 straight times last year, and less than a field goal favorite two times this year. So I can respect that. Why change anything if that's your approach and you've been cashing that ticket? But it's. I was fortunate last week. I just loaded up on a super teaser with the Eagles in Buffalo, and then middled it with Kansas City, where it went down to a pick 'em, Matt. A pick 'em at some places right before kickoff on Sunday. So I got fortunate there. But, man, you got to think that the public's going to plow in on the over after 2 easy overs in conference championship games, huh?
Well, probably, and what you notice is the officials don't call as many holding calls, and they stay out of it, and that a lot of times holding calls where it keeps scoring down and kill drives, offensive drives, and things like that. But I'm with you. I think that if the Eagles have an edge here, it's their offensive line, which might be the league's best, and Saquon Barkley, and the fact that they can, I think, kind of control the line of scrimmage. This is not a real strong KC run defense, allowed average of 148 yards in the 2 playoff games so far. I think the Eagles top 200 yards on the ground here in this game. And, Eagles are also, like you said, much better defensively. I love what Vic Fangio's done with that defense, and the personnel's better. Now, I was on the Chiefs a year ago against the 49ers. I watched the replay of that game about 5 nights ago. How did the 49ers screw up that game? They had the Chiefs had the rights for the first down inside the 10, and how lucky were the Chiefs to escape in that one? So, I don't know. Hopefully their luck runs out here, and we can get an Eagles win. The Chiefs just find a way in all these games. So at some point, when you keep playing with fire, you got to get burned. And the 49ers blew that game last year.
And yes, they did. And with their linebacker going down as well. And the 49ers, in both of the Chiefs games, they had chances to put the Chiefs away. And that defensive front, they rely on them so heavily. If the opponent's hanging around, well, that defensive front wears down a little bit. They lost at linebacker. Is it Greenlaw early in the game? That was a factor as well. But the other thing is that like Jalen Carter last year. Jalen Carter, we know about his talent. He was a little bit of a risk, and the Eagles still drafted him. They drafted him much lower than he won. Well, he was so out of shape. What did they do in the offseason? Well, okay, they changed conditioning coaches. And all right, Jalen, it's not that guy anymore. We got a new guy. Well, guess what? He's no way he's in the game in game 19 making the game-saving play against the Rams last year. Right. This year, that dude is a handful to deal with, man. And so, Fangio, he was too mean to the Dolphins. They had to get him out of there, So, that's a good staff. That's a good staff. And I think that's where Buffalo is just a little weak with their staff, man. Keep running the same plays that you're struggling with. And here's Kansas City holding some plays. And, I see St. John's and Marquette, huh, Matt? The good thing about St. John's, they got a clean coach. There's no baggage, huh? There's no baggage for that guy, huh?
You know what? There was UNLV had a coaching opening around 2017, and I lobbied for Rick Pitino, and there were a lot of people who said, no, you can't hire Pitino. Same thing, damaged goods. He's taboo. Okay. Where's the UNLV program gone since? And look what Pitino's doing, right? So, do you want to win? Do you want to win or not?
Exactly. These guys can win. Matt, real quick on the way out, just because it could be overwhelming to a lot of our listeners when they get the prop sheet. What's sort of your approach to some of these props? Do you try and figure out how the game's going to unfold? Maybe some misleading numbers a little bit. What's your approach to the props?
You know what? I'm probably not going to play a lot of props in the Super Bowl. Typically, I do. But I think what I'm looking at here is the Eagles controlling this game on the ground with Saquon Barkley, and his numbers are so high. I really don't want to bet over those prop numbers. But what you should do is map out how you think the game is going to go. Also, you can, it's okay to bet some entertainment props. I get tired of the pros ripping on the recreational bettors. If you want to bet on a 2-point conversion, if you want to bet on the fun things to happen during your game, go ahead and play it. Don't worry about what the pros say. This is supposed to be entertainment as well. It's business in general, but it's entertainment as well. And I tell people, have fun with the props. If there's something you really want to bet, just play it. First TD scorer, right? That's always one of the most popular props. And everybody loves to bet the first TD scorer. Most people do. So that's something I would look at. And I don't know. The props are going up here at the Westgate Superbook tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm going to be on the air at Circus, so I'm not going to be over there at the time. But it's funny, I was talking about this a couple days ago. 25 years ago at the Imperial Palace on the Strip, Jay Cornegay and his staff put up about 120 props on the Super Bowl. I would say late 90s. And everybody thought, wow, this is wild. These guys are crazy. 120 props. Now it's about 1,000. Think about that.
I know. It's unreal.
Yeah.
And with the mobile sites, every NFL game has, 250 props. So, it's got a lot of fantasy elements to it, and I think that's kind of, a lot of the, these single game parlays and stuff like that. So, they're trying to, win a lot with a little. So, it is definitely more popular with the, Max, how many of your buddies You do like the single game parlays.
Oh, same game parlay. That's
Same
what
game
everybody
parlays,
of
yeah.
my age does. They're sending me, this one pays 200 to 1. Like, how does this not hit?
Matt, thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
United Community Bank, the local way to bank big with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Our great team at United Community Bank, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, Prentice Wilkes, doing a great job over at United Community Bank. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Your home improvement specialist. You say, what do I know about doing home improvements, man? I'm no carpenter. I'm not good at any of that stuff. Well, let the experts at the Thibodaux Store show you how easy it is to save on some of these smaller projects that you can do that they can walk you through step by step. You won't be wasting time and money. You won't be wasting money on materials you don't need or on procedures that don't work. So let the Thibodaux Store help you out there. Ask their experts to tell you exactly what course to proceed on. Hand tools, power tools, plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, and also specialty items at the Thibodaux Store. Tons of grills, including the Big Green Egg cookers, Cypress furniture, lots of fishing equipment, crawfish, and jambalaya pots. The sister property, the Pierre Part Store in Pierre Part, just celebrated their 113th year anniversary. So check them out. And online where delivery is free at ThibodauxStore.com.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right. One of the things that we look at for the different odds is the draft. We love the draft, and they really don't have a whole lot up for the draft that we're looking for. But anyway, we do have the first overall pick, and this has been up, and we have seen some movement a little bit since the draft order has been decided since the end of the season, and then they kind of doing some interview and trying to see what some of these general managers and the higher end of the draft and some of the comments are talking about. How is it?
Yeah, so before the teams were decided, before it was set that the Titans were taking the number one pick, we saw the Sanders and Ward were kind of the favorites at the moment. Sanders, I think, was a slight favorite to be the number one pick, which makes sense. Before you know who it is, it's more than likely to be a quarterback. But I believe it was this time last week that the Titans general manager had a press conference and was asked about that first overall pick, and he sort of insinuated that they're going to take the best player available. They're not necessarily worried about taking a quarterback. He said if we have a generational talent at any position, we're going to take him. And so that originally moved the odds quite significantly. There was a lot of money on Travis Hunter, who was as high as about 15 to 1.
Oh, wow.
Moved down to plus 175, which is where he is now. We've also seen a movement since that Abdul Carter is getting more love. We've seen some mock drafts, some player rankings. I believe Daniel Jeremiah has Abdul Carter as his number one overall player on his board. So Abdul Carter right now is third choice at plus 265, still behind Cam Ward as the favorite. Shedeur Sanders seems to be the outlier here, at least with Tennessee. But, Jimmy, I'm just curious.
Shedeur Sanders at one time was the favorite, though.
Before the team was decided. Right. It's interesting, though. Tennessee has a real quarterback problem. I don't think they're going to run it back with Will Levis. They have an offensive head coach in Brian Callahan, who came from Cincinnati. It would be interesting if they go defense, but Hunter and Carter seem to be very much live in this spot at the moment.
Yeah, he came over from Cincinnati. He's mimicking what Cincinnati runs. One problem, you don't have Joe Burrow. So yeah, Will Levis is not good. Yeah, Sanders. This is different though, because rarely do we see the favorite at Ward at plus 120 and the fourth choice Sanders at plus 600 kind of being that close. And Sanders was number one. I can't see anybody taking Abdul Carter over Travis Hunter. That would just floor me. I think Carter's a great player. I think you saw the difference when he got hurt in their first playoff game, or the Boise State game. The Boise State game, Boise State couldn't do anything. He got hurt, and they started moving the ball. So you really saw an impact in game just recently. He's playing with one shoulder in the semifinal game against Notre Dame and still making plays. I mean, he's a great player, but Hunter is a generational player, man. I mean, and it's going to give you more snaps because he's going to play some offense. I mean, I don't know if it's 10 snaps, 15 snaps, 20 snaps a game, but he's going to get you more snaps than anybody. So I would be surprised with Carter, but some of these public signs that these are what are adjusting these lines and adjusting the confidence of the betting public on these lines.
And maybe you tend to see a little bit. Maybe some of this is based on the position that they play, right? Cornerbacks don't always get taken as early as pass rushers, and so that might be part of this. Somebody thinks they're going to have
I'll disagree there.
Pass rusher and Abdul Carter.
I don't know about that. I mean, we just saw that recently. Two went to top 10. I mean, where did Surtain go? He went top 10. 3 went to top 10.
But we've seen more.
Stingley went 3?
We've seen more edge rushers be number 1 at least.
I can make an argument who's more of an impact on the game too.
My other question for you here, Jimmy, we're seeing a lot of love this week. The Senior Bowl is on right now, ESPN 2, if you're interested. Jackson Dart was just throwing a little bit. A lot of love for him this week at the Senior Bowl. Is he the third quarterback in this list? Because to me, I'm not that high on him, but he's getting a lot of love right now in Mobile.
I mean, just Nagy, who runs the Senior Bowl, said exactly what we've been saying for a long time. It's hard in a Kiffin offense. They are put in positions where he's got guys so wide open. It's so quarterback friendly. Is it a product of his system? And he's a guy that needs to be further evaluated. I've never been super, super high on him. I think he's okay. He had a lot of starts, and I thought he should have been better. What start was that for him, the Florida game? And he looked so good for 3 quarters, but the fourth quarter was so bad. That's all anybody can talk about when they talk about the Florida game. He was so bad in that fourth quarter, and he was making some tight throws and tight windows, and I don't know, man. I'm a little skeptical of him. But I'll tell you one thing: every year they overdraft quarterbacks. Just in case they might get that guy. So
he seems like a quarterback that everyone's going to fall in love with in the draft, and I just disagree with it. I'm with you. I think
where is he going to be a third round?
Oh, I would say way under that. He'll go earlier than that. That's based on he's a quarterback. If he's the third guy, he's going to be late first, early second.
Where's Milroe going to go?
How
do you take that guy?
I think he's a day 2 guy, but
really.
I think that's where he'll go, whether you agree with it or not. He's a quarterback. Again, somebody's going to take a chance. And,
he is?
Well,
he's a quarterback? Yeah. You've seen him throw? How many starts does he have?
Good deep ball.
Has he improved one bit? I mean, I don't know, man. Where should Richardson – like, if you traded Richardson right now, what could you get for him? What's fair market value for him right now? Mid-first round? Early second? Late third? I don't know.
Second-round pick, probably.
Okay.
He's fallen from where he was.
So he's not as good as Richardson. He's not as big, as strong, and as bigger arm as Richardson.
In a worse draft class, this
is a
worst quarterback draft class.
It's a weak one. Yeah. There's no doubt. And the quarterback position is important. There's no doubt. I'm not going to try and tell you that, and that's why people are just trying to find one. Maybe that slides. But who in their right mind could watch Milroe and say, yeah, this guy's got a chance to be good? Who can watch Richardson and think he's going to be good? I mean, will he have some great plays and highlight plays? But he's going to make a lot of bad throws and put your team in a rough position as well. So we'll see. But right now, the favorite is Cam Ward plus 120, Travis Hunter second choice plus 175, Abdul Carter plus 265, close third, and Shedeur Sanders not far behind. These are from the Queen Sportsbook, the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Queen. Take a time out, come back. Kenny White and his picks. We return live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Don't forget to schedule your crawfish boils over here at Walk-Ons on-site or off-site. Going to be a great season and already filling up. Our dates are filling up fast. And whether you just want us to provide the boiled crawfish or servers, bar, set up a whole bar on-site or off-site, we can do as little or as much as you need, but secure your spot in the crawfish boil schedule. Call Dustin again. Give Dustin a call over here at Walk-Ons. His number is 888-3566, 888-3566. Kenny White joins us right now, KennyWhiteSports.com. Kenny, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm doing well. Doing well. It's, all times it seems like it's busy. It's really busy for me right now with women's college basketball, men's college basketball, and then college baseball. Going to get started in a couple of weeks.
Man, they care about college baseball a little bit more, actually a lot more than anywhere else in Baton Rouge, and we will dabble into it a little bit ourselves. There's no doubt. So we especially when we get into the postseason, it's a lot of fun. But that's interesting. Where you find it. I mean, select during the regular season. I mean, what percentage of shops put out college baseball lines during the season in Las Vegas?
It's been getting better. This will be year 4 for me now, so it's been quite a while that Caesar started putting it up first. I guess maybe DraftKings was. I didn't know that because we don't have DraftKings here in Las Vegas, but Caesar's was the first one I saw and was betting them. MGM started to put it up, and Station Casinos, I think, dabbled a little bit last year that they started putting some college games. I wish Circa and Westgate would put it up. That would be a dream, but I'll take what I can get in it, Jimmy. It's been very, very good, and I'm looking forward to another good season.
I have been out there for Belmont Week, which is also regional week, and they do have them. And Derek loves college baseball. He met some of my buddies in Omaha when he went, and he wants to make it an annual trip. I think he is going to make it an annual trip. I mean, the Circa, they got it going on. I mean, the president was throwing craps last Saturday night. So, I mean, they get you got it all going on. Of course, Trump was there to pitch the. Does that thing have a chance, Kenny? I mean, the gratuity is such a big part of the workforce in Las Vegas, but no tipping. No taxes on tips. Does that thing have a chance?
I'm not sure if it does or not. It's all in the numbers. That's a lot of money in government taxes that'll be taken away, and it's going to have to be made up somewhere. Right. I think that it will be made up from the people who don't work for tips, and that could create a problem. So I'm not sure. I've never worked for tips my entire life, so I don't really know. And I know a lot of people that do because obviously Las Vegas is probably one of the biggest places for tips. But we're talking one city out of the entire United States. I know that other people in the food industry work for tips, but it's not like Vegas where some people here make $400 or $500 a day in tips.
Yeah. All right, let's get to what you're looking at tonight. We got a little college basketball, a little NBA, a little hockey, a little women's basketball. What are we looking at tonight?
Yeah, there's a lot of the college basketball tonight. I bet Northern Kentucky and Detroit under tonight. 130.5 the total was early. I didn't look up to see if this moved at all, but these are just two really bad scoring teams. Offensively, they're both down. They both play good transition defense. They don't let their opponents get easy baskets, so that means they take care of the ball on offense as well, but they can't score it. And Northern Kentucky's defense has been very, very good. I also like what was that team? North Carolina Wilmington tonight. I laid the 11 with them. They're playing against North Carolina A&T, and this is a matchup that's a complete mismatch. I like when I get a slowdown team like Wilmington, who's very efficient offensively, and then they're playing against a team who likes to run and go up tempo and press, who can't score, and they're not very good defensively. So Wilmington's game is going to get sped up here tonight, and that's not a good thing for North Carolina A&T. So I laid the 11. I made it 15.5, and I think they're rolling. I'll give you one more total.
Kenny,
here,
real
Jimmy.
quick on NC
yeah.
Wilmington. Would you lay up to 12.5, which we're seeing right now at our local shop here at the Queen, which is a DraftKings outlet?
Is it that high? It did go up. Well, I made it 15.5. So
okay.
I would at that point at 12 would probably be the highest I would lay on Wilmington in that game. Yeah.
Okay.
Hofstra and Elon, I went under 129.5. Kind of game I love. That both teams play extremely slow, not very good offenses, and then you got Hofstra who plays excellent defense, allowing opponents just 65 points per game. So I bet that one under the total under 129.5.
Kenny, I want to get back to your days where you Las Vegas sports consultants, you guys are setting the lines, and you just had the conference championship games, and you took over action. Okay, the betting public, more recreational, higher profile games, you get more and more. Just regular. The people don't want to pull for just punts. Okay, they want some action. So you get all of this over action. They go over easily. You're getting that much more in the Super Bowl. How much are you willing to inflate that total, to move that total up, but also with a little bit of worry that sharp money will come back at a too big of a number the other side? Talk about how that balances out.
Yeah, it gets interesting, Jimmy, with each odds maker doing their own work. And we had 5 odds makers handling the NFL because it was the biggest sport. We'd get together, we'd all reveal our own numbers, and everybody would make adjustments week in and week out. But when you get to standalone games, Thursday night we'd add a half a point to the over, Sunday night a half a point to the over, but Monday night we added a full point to our total. So if all our guys, we came out and we thought the total should be 48, we added a point on Monday night and made it 49, and that's what we sent to the clients. And we'd have to do that on several, big teams in the area too. When USC was playing great, and nobody could stop them, we'd have to add almost a touchdown to their point spread because that's all we would get every week. They were overinflated by a touchdown. So you got to know what money's coming your way and what's going to be bad. This game I don't think is going to move a lot, Jimmy. I made Kansas City a half and 50 myself, and it wasn't much I could bet. I bet an early teaser just to have a bet on the game. I took the Eagles +8 and went over 43.5, and that's all I can really bet in the game. I did make one prop bet I thought was good. I took +550 that the game would be decided by 3 points. So if either team wins by 3, I got a nice winner +550.
All right, the game decided by 3 +550. Yeah, it seems like these teams are made to play a close game. I guess historically with the NFL had to be the biggest team and season that you inflated was that New England undefeated season. I don't think they had one Sunday night game against the Eagles. It was almost 20-point spread. I mean, the Ravens were a really good team. They were given like 2 touchdowns. Is that one that comes to mind?
Yeah. The NFL wasn't. We didn't have to make as big adjustments on the NFL. With the parity. But as you're saying, there wasn't much parity because the Patriots were just so much better than everybody else, and that team that year, they ran scores up because they were just that good. So you just adjusted. We probably just couldn't make the number high enough on those Patriot games.
Gotcha. Any women's basketball tonight, Kenny?
Yeah, I do. I did bet LSU. I laid 6 on them, but I think it's 6.5 now. I only made it 9 over Oklahoma. Should be a really up-tempo game. The total's 160, and that's right where I made it. 2 of my better plays, I took Alabama +3.5. They're at Kentucky. And then a West Coast game. I played California. I took 3.5 at home. They're playing North Carolina. I will tell you that the women's has gotten a little tighter, and it is that time of year. It's the dog days of February where they're 20-some games in now, and they've still got 3 or 4 weeks away from playing any meaningful games and conference tournaments and NCAA. And February has always been my worst month handicapping men's basketball. For some reason, I have no idea, and there is a good idea that the line does get better because now the bookmaker has 20 games under their belt to know how good these teams are as well.
LSU at the PMAC, we're just steps away from that here at the original walk-ons. The local line at the Queen, the DraftKings outlet 6.5 and 159.5 over Oklahoma coming into town. So, what did you think about that game last Friday afternoon, evening, where LSU lost their first game? They covered easily. It was a big number, like 15-16 against South Carolina. Of course, South Carolina, the overwhelming favorite to win the whole thing this year. Right now, they're plus 175 to win the whole thing. UConn, second choice, plus 400. USC and Notre Dame, plus 450. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there's some really good teams. I don't have South Carolina rated that much higher than USC, UCLA, Connecticut, and Notre Dame. I think they're all pretty equal teams. I've got Notre Dame rated just maybe slightly better than those teams. And LSU is right there as well. You mentioned the first loss of the season, and I think they were getting 14.5 in that game on the road at South Carolina. They were very competitive, showed really good defense, and then bounced back against A&M. So, I've been betting on LSU quite a bit this year. I think they're a very good basketball team, and I do think that they're right there. They're right with that group of teams to win it all. They'll make that run, and I think we'll see the team in maybe the Elite Eight.
I'm on Kenny's text thread to get all of his plays. Extremely convenient from all of his contributors. KennyWhiteSports.com. KennyWhiteSports.com for more information. Kenny, brother, good to talk to you again. It's been a while, man, and we appreciate it, and good luck to you this weekend.
Yes, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, that's great. Kenny White with some great stuff. Also, some real interesting insight to setting the lines because he owned Las Vegas Sports Consultants for years, and his clients were the sports books. They delivered their lines, and then their bookmakers adjusted them to their liking. But they put out the original lines back in the day. Some really cool insight there. We'll come back and wrap things up here from the original Walk-Ons, live at Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, one of our golfers is atop the leaderboard at Pebble Beach. Colin Morikawa and Eric Van Rooyen are tied right now at 4 under. 4 under. So another one of Wes's picks, Tom Hoagie, is one back at 3 under. Hoagie, Echevarria, Stevens, and McIlroy with an ace. 3 under. Batia, JT Poston at 3 under. Our consensus pick was Pendrith. Pendrith is 1 under. He is 3 back. So just giving you a little, got a little action up there. So on top of the leaderboard, but Morikawa, and oh goodness, it was Wes and them. Morikawa and JT were kind of the half consensus with Taylor Pendrith. All right, don't forget over here at the original Walk-Ons, again, get in touch with Dustin again at 888-3566 to schedule your crawfish boil on site or off site. Again, the crawfish boils, we're at Walk-Ons. Now, time to reserve your spot. The calendar is filling up. And stop on by today on your way to LSU and Oklahoma women's game here at the original Walk-Ons. For Jordan Kitchens back in studio, live at lunch, live at Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.